I go back 12 months at the beginning of the project, I think that I was probably not that knowledgeable about the ways that BCB could best use social media. And I kind of saw it as a bit of an add-on to what we do, something that it's quite nice to do, but really we need to be using other ways to reach our listeners, our audiences, our potential volunteers, our participants. And I think I've changed my idea actually over the last 12 months in that I actually really do see how social media has to be part of what we do at BCB. I think the world's changed in 12 months. I think I've certainly changed in 12 months. But I now see that a kind of consistent use of social media is really important, and a consistent presence in social media. And I realise you can't quite dabble, do a little bit here and a little bit there. We need to have that consistency. And I think for me that's also meant sort of changing a little bit about how we work as a station, because it does need somebody who's actually taking control of that and actually taking it on and giving some leadership to it and then delivering. And that's actually quite hard in a community radio station, because in some ways it goes a little bit against how we work, because we're such a diverse group of people, different age groups, different ethnicities, different backgrounds. So actually trying to enforce something which is coherent, consistent and with a style is completely against what we usually do in a community radio station. So it's some real learning that I've had to have. But I do think there is something about this is what BCB is. And I suppose it's like any marketing, any engagement, it's about setting out your stall. And I think we need to do that with social media as well. Since we've been using social media more and more consistently, it's interesting who's been engaging with us. And that has changed, I think. I think because we've got more of an online presence with social media, then people are seeing us, and seeing us more online means that they're actually, in some ways, taking us a bit more seriously. And some of our actual stakeholders in Bradford, some of our key portfolio holders in the council who are regular Twitter users, are now sort of following us on Twitter. They're part of our conversation, we're part of theirs. So I think our profile has definitely been raised by our better use of social media, really. One of the things that I have always thought of social media as being is kind of like a publicity tool, a marketing tool. But I realise now we can do a lot more with it. And one of the things that we've focused on, I think, is using it in a publicity and marketing tool to start with, and publicising the content of our programmes, the guests we have, the issues we're covering, the music that's being played, etc. I realise now that we can actually say, BCB is more than a community radio station. We're actually an organisation, a community organisation that's connecting with its communities in Bradford. And here we are at an event in Barker End, here we are at the Older People's Day, here we are at the elections, or whatever it might be. And I think that's really important, that we actually show what a community radio station does, which I feel very much is about connecting with its communities, not just the broadcasting that you hear on the radio. And I think we can use social media to do that much more. But I think we've actually started to allocate some time in people's working hours to actually do social media. So it's not just something that sometimes happens, but actually in the same way as we meet every day to book our guests and stories, what stories we're going to follow, what news agenda do we want to set, it's also about how we're going to use social media today. And I think that's really important. So we've got some sort of frameworks that we use, but there might be other things that we want to do. And we've just got to embed that really into what we do daily, weekly, and making sure that it's part of who we are and what we do.